yours in 3, 2, 1. All right, man, let's get right into it. David Jaramillo, thank you so much, my buddy, for being here today, man. I know we're on a little bit of a time constraint. For those of you who are watching, guy to my left, David, is leaving for med school tomorrow morning. Thanks so much for being here, man, honestly.
Thank you, guys.
And congrats again, bro. That's just
thank you.
Awesome accomplishment, I think.
Congrats, man.
I'm just glad to be here and get to talk to you guys. Yeah. I feel like we don't hang out that often, but it's like a friendship. Like, you don't see someone as often because you're all busy. But then when you do see each other, it's like you never we're apart from each other. It's like, hey, how's it going?
Man. No, honestly, I mean, we appreciate the support so much. I tell everybody, I tell these guys all the time, one of the first guys who hit me up and gave me his full support about the podcast was David. So I was like, we got to get him on. And then when I saw your Instagram post, hey, I'm leaving Arizona, right?
Yeah, Arizona. Yeah, that's right.
Arizona for med school. I was like, oh man, we got to get him on, honestly. So really glad you're here, man. Glad to have you.
Thank you.
I guess we'll just get into it because, like I said, you're on a time constraint. You're busy with all the how's that going, man? The moving and
the
all
packing.
That.
I've moved because I did my master's, so I had to move for that, and then I had to move back, and now moving back for this. It's just it's like so much. It's stress that you don't feel it until the end. That you're like, I got 10 boxes I got to ship out today, hundreds of dollars in shipping. That you're, I just want to get this over with. And
well, I mean, because you came back from getting your master's. Is it from the same school you're going to do your med? Go to med school for, right?
That's right.
So you've been back for a year and all that. How much packing could you have done in that year, man? Jeez.
No, I mean it mostly clothes.
Yeah, that's.
I'm not a big shopper, but my parents was like, you need clothes, and so it ends up stacking up. But not only that, but figuring out an apartment without actually seeing the apartment and all that, and then just figuring out the loans. God, the loans. That's the worst part. But I just keep going. Don't think about the money.
Don't think about it, man.
Think about the end goal, which is being a physician. That's
man. That's awesome, bro. It's really when.
So are your parents moving with you? Because I tell my son all the time, hey, pick a good college, pick one that I'm gonna have a good time at too, because I'm going with you when you go. So it's a Hispanic thing.
That is a Hispanic thing. That's right.
Hey,
my parents are
staying in town.
That's right. They're like, if you're gonna end up in Arizona, let us know. Pick a city so that we can go. Because my dad's originally from Arizona.
Okay.
So his dream was always to go back to live in Arizona. We never gotten the chance to, but he's like, I didn't get to live that dream, but now you get to live that dream of going to Arizona and going to med school there and stuff. So
that's so cool, man. It's kind of like he's not living vicariously, but kind of, through you, his son, living out those dreams,
that's
man,
right.
honestly. Because, I mean, we were joking about this before, though, because you're the whitest Mexican we know, right? Just based on your color, which is kind of ignorance, because you go to Mexico, there's a lot of super white people, super Hispanic, But, your parents, you came originally from Mexico. You moved over here when you were, 10 years old?
10, exactly, yeah.
Yeah, 10 years old, moved up here, went to college, and now you're going to med school. That's awesome, dude. Congrats. Hats off to you. And it's not too many people know. Me and you go back to those golden days in St. Thomas, man. That's you actually met Jonathan first, though, in Chem Lab. Though.
Yeah, we had Chem Lab together.
Yeah.
And I was always 2 years ahead of everybody else because I had moved and transferred and stuff.
Yeah.
And then he told me he had an older brother, which you're younger than I am.
Yeah.
So when he said I have an older brother, I was like, oh yeah, older.
Yeah,
older.
of
I was
course.
like, oh, we're the same age. I mean, a few month difference, I think. But
yeah.
But yeah, no, it was great meeting you, Jonathan, and then you, and then all your little friend group that you guys have.
Yeah, man. Yeah,
which I always see you guys posting on social media and stuff. You guys
thanks for the invite, man.
I
always invite you, man. I always do. He's always hitting up some lame. There's a reason why he's going to med school right now, because he would always hit me up with some whack excuse.
I gotta study. Or
I'm studying, bro. Hey, man, I'm working right now. I can't stay out too late. I'll go have a beer with you, but it was
I'm doing something with my life.
Yeah, I'm doing something with my life, man. I'm not drinking it away and all that. No, man, that's what I was gonna say. It's so cool, especially when obviously we didn't grow up together, but we met at a pivotal time, in each other's lives. We're going through college, kind of. You have an idea what you really want to do already, but still you're kind of with those growing pains and all that.
Exactly.
And when you see a good friend of yours reach a milestone like that, it's always awesome because it's in a way hey man, I was there through the grind of it all. I saw you. I saw when you would study, when you were fucking rejecting me when I was telling you to come out Saturday nights. So it's okay, he was actually doing something, right? He wasn't just dissing me because he didn't like me or something, right? Really hurt my feelings.
No.
That's awesome.
I try. I mean, it's so hard to get into med school, and I have a cousin that's in medical. Well, he's in residency right now in Mexico, but even him trying to get into medical school was horrible. So not to say I'm amazing. I'm not, but I'm just thankful God gave me this opportunity
exactly.
to go to med
Hands
school.
off, dude, because it is such a grueling process. I mean, one I can't even attest to, really. I was doing pre-med when I was at St. Thomas.
Yeah.
I was doing this internship at Baylor College of Medicine, and I was like, nah, man, I wouldn't be able to do it, honestly. You really have to have, like, a passion and, like a deep, like, hard work ethic, man. Super disciplined. So I was going to ask you, man, without, being, like, too much of an interview, like, hey, David,
Go ahead.
Man, just if you can walk us through that process, because I understand kind of, like I said, I did pre-med or whatever, so I kind of have, like, a general idea of, like, the process. Like, obviously, you go to the university, you get your bachelor's, you study, take whatever prerequisites you need to go to med school.
That's right.
You study for your MCAT, you take your MCAT, and then if you, do interviews and if you're lucky, you get into med school, right?
Yeah, that's right.
And my question to you, because you're doing the DO medical program, right?
Yeah, DO.
And for those who are watching, there's a difference between a DO, Doctor of Osteopathic Medicine, versus the traditional MD,
which is the allopathic
medical doctor, right?
Yeah.
Allopathic.
Allopathic,
right?
yeah.
Allopathic, yeah. So, I mean, what's, I guess, twofold question. One, what's really the difference between, like, a DO and MD? And then, is the process just as hard, even more difficult, or what,
Yeah, it's a few, like, I'd say about 3 decades ago, it was more of unknown. People didn't know what that was, because a lot of people, I don't if anybody knows, there's, like, Caribbean medical schools that a lot of people go to when they don't get into the U.S. They go to other countries and they study medicine, then they come back.
Or sometimes they even go to Mexico or something, right?
Yeah, that's right. That's actually a very popular thing. Also for dentistry. A lot of people
who did that. Yeah.
But the main difference is you have same licensing rights, same practicing rights in all 50 states. They don't have the same practice rights around the world, simply because in Europe there are these things called, like, or this profession called, like, osteopaths, which they're not the same as doctor of osteopathic medicine as it is here.
Yeah.
So people in Europe sometimes get confused as to which one is which, because the training is totally different. But the main difference is in the philosophy and the coursework that you do. So you learn everything exactly the same, but DOs learn one extra thing, which is about 300 to 500 hours of it's called osteopathic manipulative medicine, or treatments, which is OMM or OMT, or treatment. Yeah. And what this is, they would hate if I describe it like this, but if you have ever seen, like, physical therapy or chiropractors,
that's what I was going to say.
You learn to diagnose musculoskeletal things, and you can fix them with your hands. So I've seen examples of people that, that dislocated rib or something like that, where typically they might say, an MD might say, oh, we need surgery to fix this or something like that. And that's just a vague example. I don't know if that's 100% accurate or it helps with pneumonia, but they show you in medical school how to move that so you don't have to do more interventional things like that.
And that's where that kind of holistic approach, right? That's honestly why it's not, I don't want to say there's a negative stigma or like a negative social stigma or whatever about DOs, but there kind of is sometimes, right? Like, if you didn't become an MD, you went and became a DO. And that is so unfair, man.
That's right.
And a lot of it has to do because of that, that holistic approach, right? That, like, you're kind of like a chiropractor on steroids or something like that, right? Like a chiropractor 3.0. It's like, no way, man. In a way, it's really unfair because you have to learn just as much, not even just as much, right? You're learning the same things as, like, an MD is learning, right?
You have to learn more.
Yeah, obviously more, if not, And then it's just, like you said, the philosophy that, hey, man, we don't always have to do surgery, right? Or you don't always have to throw, I mean, DOs can obviously still prescribe like pills and whatnot, prescriptions.
You can be a neurosurgeon, ortho, family medicine. You can do anything. You can do it. And they recently merged residencies actually this year. And the big deal before that was, once you do medical school, you do residency, which is where you actually go you specialize in your training. And a lot of times people didn't like DOs because the match rates, meaning, like, the chances of you matching into a residency were lower than MDs. So, like, MDs always have, like, mid-90s match rate, and DOs always had, like, in the low 80s. And then this year that they finally merged the residencies, because MDs and DOs, they train the same way. The difference is the philosophy and the OMM. And now this is the first year where they matched the residencies, and the DOs had a 91% match rate, and the MDs had 94. So it's essentially almost the same.
Indifferent,
So
indistinguishable.
Yeah, the stigma in Arizona, for example, where I'm going, I think over 60% of all doctors in Arizona are DOs, because there are 2 DO schools in Arizona, and a lot of them stay in the state that they practice in. So it's rising. I think the DO stock is rising. And I know I have classmates that got like 526s, 528s on the MCAT. It's out of 528. 526 and a 527 that they got into both MDs and DOs, and they chose DO because of the philosophy and the OMM stuff because they were interested in learning it. So
it's cool. I mean, because you were saying, I think a lot of it, honestly, we're talking about like that social stigma or whatever, that negative social stigma has a lot to do, not necessarily with like direct ignorance, but kind of just lack of information, right? I mean, you see in TV, you don't hear, you know, oh, I'm Dr. blah, 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 DO, right? It's always MD. So like, I just feel like people growing up don't know that there's not even like a second option, that, hey, man, there's an awesome option, like take that. And like you said, it's a very grueling process still. It's not like, hey, man, you didn't make it a MD, just go be a DO. Or it's like, no, man, honestly, it's probably, if not much more difficult to become a DO than an MD.
There is a reason that I think people, because the average incoming GPA and MCAT scores tend to be lower for DO schools. So that's why I think they get the rep of like, the average is lower, so therefore like less of a caliber
I mean,
of a student.
Well, correct me if I'm wrong, though. I mean, are most DO medical schools kind of like private institutions, though? Or
that's I don't know. Yeah, the one I'm going to is private.
It's a private one, because I had, like I said, a couple of friends who were becoming DOs. That's the first time I heard it about a couple of years ago. You know, like, oh, I'm going to go to, DO school. And I'm like, oh, I have no idea what you're talking about. You know, they explained to me kind of the gist of it. I was like, awesome. And it would just so happen to be a private school and all that. I mean, but St. Thomas kind of does the same things, right? You go to St. Thomas versus UT Austin or something. Mm-hmm. Like the GPA they allow, the acceptance rate is lower because it's private.
Yeah.
But then, and that's always like going to be the biggest argument against it, right? Like, oh, you know, they're letting in people who aren't on paper that much more smarter, you know? But it's like, hey, man.
But going back real quick, just so I can chime in, because I haven't said a damn thing.
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry.
But it's
about
like,
that.
Is it bad that I only understand all this shit because I watch Grey's Anatomy?
No, that's...
My sister would concur with you.
Enabler. That's why DOs get a bad name, because of guys like you. No, man, honestly. And it's just one of those things that you only understand it. I don't even understand it, dude, honestly. Like 80% of what you were saying, I was kind of like, you know, but it was mostly going over my head.
Stop me.
No, I don't want to make myself look stupid. So, yeah.
Me too, I'm like...
Yeah,
of course.
People do like an organic chemistry book, and it's like, you know,
I should have brought my pipe, and it just...
Yeah, right, just lit us like, it roasted us, like, dropped the mic and walked out, whatever.
But actually, it's more common, at least from people that I've seen on YouTube, because I love watching students on YouTube, that DO schools tend to be more popular with people who had other careers, and then they realized that medicine was what they wanted to do. I had classmates in my master's program that, you know, were teachers, was an engineer, a lawyer, and they all sort of had this realization of like, this is not what I want to do, medicine is what I want to do. So that's what they go the DO route, because it's easier for them. And sometimes, you know, people make mistakes. I had a lot of classmates that did not do well in undergrad, and they have to do these master's programs and things like that because they didn't do well.
Well, yeah, that's typically, honestly, I mean, like I said, I didn't end up, you know, I did pre-med, but I didn't end up trying to go to med school. I ended up, you know, majoring in philosophy, but somehow I ended up back in the medical center at MD Anderson doing like data entry work.
Yeah.
But I'm still around people, you know, guys my age who are still trying to get there. Like, oh, it didn't pan out for me when I got out of undergrad, so now, you know, I'm trying to get my MPH. Is that what you got when you were in Arizona?
No, I got on my Master of Arts in Biomedical Sciences.
Oh, okay, awesome. Yeah,
I can't do epidemiology, like stats.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, stats, epidemiology. Yeah, so I know a lot of people who do that. Like, yeah, we're gonna get our masters, and I'm like, God damn, you know, like, damn, that's like, you know, I'm just gonna go get my master's in public health, and then
real quick, just a pit
real
stop,
quick. This is just what I'm
doing,
quick,
you know,
and then I'm gonna go back.
time during the summer, and you know.
Well, really, that's what it is. You know, it's like, God, I'm like fucking driving my resume.
I'm gonna invite you out to Midtown this
week.
Yeah,
I know. I was gonna invite you to Midtown this week, but shit, David rejects me all the time.
So what's your plan though after medical school's done? Like, what do you see your career being, or what are you trying to get into?
He's gonna be a golf instructor, I think, right here at the Sienna.
I do love golf. I love golf.
I know. I see you play all the time.
I love golf.
Man. I like playing too. I'm garbage.
Oh yeah,
no, I don't even want to tell you my handicap, but I grew up playing sports my whole life, and orthopedic surgery has always been something that I've kind of leaned towards. But when I was doing my master's, I loved physiology, especially cardiophysiology. So I think being like an interventional cardiologist would be awesome too. I'm open to anything, really. And honestly,
it's hard to say right now, right? Exactly.
Because I don't know.
I'm gonna do this. Yeah, exactly.
And not to sound cheesy, but God lead the way.
No,
if He wants me
that's
to
not
do
cheesy at all, dude. That's the truth of it all, man. I mean,
yeah, I mean that's the way our family is. So like we're religion heavy. We definitely believe in God, and so the mindset's the same on our end here too. So, and I think most of the listeners as well. Not to get into a religion debate, right? Because
that's exactly what this country needs right now.
No, I mean for sure. So it's not cheesy at all, like Matt said. So because that's what it is, right? It is what it is. Not cheesy. It's a fact.
No, man.
But nah, man. Again, congrats, and we wish you all the best.
Yeah. And not to start like a David Jaramillo kiss my ass club, whatever. But honestly, man, I mean, even like you said, your little friend circle that we kind of, you would come with us and hang out, and they were always there.
Yeah.
I wouldn't get jealous, but they would always like hype you up so much. Like, oh, your friend David, man, he's so cool. Like the way he speaks, it's like he speaks with so much conviction and all that. I'm like, all right,
what
guys.
about me?
Yeah, I was all right, guys.
I invited
take it easy, take it easy. I would tell them, all right, man. He's like me and
Conviction.
Jonathan's friend,
When they would be like, should we go to class? I was always like, go to class.
Yeah, man. No, because David, dude, when I'm at school and all that, it's just like, it's a kind of a different thing, but you won't understand. Like, these guys give me so much crap for, like, talking so much. Like, dude, shut up, Like, we'll be at a party and, like, why are you bringing that up right now?
Don't let him lie to you, dude. It's not that he talks a lot. Because you can talk a lot. You talked a lot now, and, like, it's smart, and I know it makes sense. He talks a lot of bullshit.
No. I talk a lot of, like, with heart and passion, right? Like, nah, man, it should be this way. And
he's passionate, but about bullshit.
No, like, the most important things, like, no, it shouldn't be like that, man. It shouldn't.
Are you guys related or something? Is that why you guys
Yeah, that's why it was and all that. I'm like, nah, man, honestly, that's how David speaks. And we'd be at, like, I got out of my organic chemistry class. My head's just fried, just like right now when David was talking to me. He was like, going at 100 miles per hour. No, but I'm teasing. So we get out of class and we go to the St. Thomas patio, outside. You went a couple of times.
I parked in your
we parked and we got
time.
An Uber from there, whatever. Well, they have like this really, you saw it, right? Like this cool patio, whatever. It's better in the evening time. During the day, it's always hot as balls.
I felt like I was, in college too, because I would park there a few times.
Yeah.
It's a great university.
It's a very close knit.
Some people don't like
any university if you use it the right way, right? If you use it,
it's close to all the good bars.
Yeah, that's why. Yeah, you go take class and you go like down the street and you get wasted and ruin your life.
But you guys' group was great. I mean, I didn't hang out with them as often, but it's right. When I arrived at St. Thomas, I could tell the difference between the caliber of people that I met at the colleges I'd previously been in before I moved, and then St. Thomas. Yeah. And it's rare, and I'm not just saying this because the camera's on, but it's rare to find people with the same work ethic, the same sort of religious conviction, and then just in general that live their lives the way that I think life should be lived,
based
to be
on
honest.
their beliefs or whatever.
Exactly,
right?
exactly.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah. And that's what I was gonna say. Or he'd come and sit down at the patio, and he'd get out of history class, and I'd get out of like OChem, and Jonathan would get out of math, economics, whatever he was taking at the time, and we'd sit, and David would go on like these. Like, not huge rants or anything, but he would just, he would speak with such conviction, like, damn, man, that's not one guy you're gonna, sway from his beliefs. Yeah. And people respect that, man. Even if they don't agree with it, they like that, like, damn, like, he knows what he believes in, and they leech onto it,
That's a critique my sister has of me. And I told my sister, it's not that I'm not close-minded. It's just that, and Dr. Mike actually said this. We were talking about Dr. Mike.
Yeah, my sister's lover, supposedly. God damn.
No, but the difference is when you know something enough about a topic, you are able to have a strong enough opinion. Not that I know everything, because I really don't. But when you know something enough about a topic, you can be more assertive about it. And I think that 99% of the world, they don't know what the hell they're talking about half the time. Man. And so when you encounter someone, let's say philosophy or whatever you do, like if when you hear something that's just off, you just know about it. Yeah. And so it's like I'm always open. Like that's why I'm such a nerd. I mean, the glasses aren't just for show. Like I like learning. So whenever I learn new things, I'm always open. But when I see an argument, especially with our philosophy background, if I see something that doesn't make sense, I'm like,
it's not adding up, man.
This doesn't make sense to me.
And I think
I make fun of Matthew, like he talks a lot of BS. He does sometimes. He talks out his ass.
I do sometimes.
But I think it's that philosophy. It's that philosophy background, right? That he feels, and rightfully so. I mean, argue your point for sure, and that's what he does. And we give him a lot of crap a lot of time, but he makes a lot of good, valid points. It's just he gets annoying sometimes when it's like 3 a.m. We know he's drunk and he wants to argue,
Those are the best conversations.
Those are the best conversations. And that was the inspiration for this podcast.
Opinion.
I was like, man, we have some great conversations when we're drunk, man. Let's put them on, like, let's put it in camera so the world can hear about it, man. But no, I mean, just going back to your point, though, obviously, you know, there's a difference between, you know, drunk arguing versus, like, this innate sense, like, of truth. And, like, to David's point, man, it's like, he would say 99%. I'd say almost, you know, 100% of people really don't know what they're talking about, you know? And there's a certain, I guess, you know, you're Catholic as well, just like all of us. You know, appreciate the theology classes. Absolutely. At a certain point, you gotta give in. I mean, without getting into, like, too much of a theological conversation here, you gotta accept and acknowledge that, you know, we're all very limited in our understanding of things, whatever. And at one point or another, you're gonna have to not necessarily give in, but you're gonna have to have faith to something, right? And you're gonna have to believe either in what, you know, you're hearing at church, believe in what you're hearing from the government, believe what you're hearing from medical experts. You're gonna have to, you know, have to give that leap of faith eventually, right? Mm-hmm. And my whole point is like, hey, man, before you do that though, try to understand what's kind of going on around you, you know. And I think that's why we got along so well, man, because we kind of both had that same mind. Even Jonathan, you know, Jonathan's a lot more reserved or whatever, but he's way more intense than I am. Like Jonathan.
I've seen him in the podcast. You can see he's like Socrates. He sits and he listens.
Yeah, man.
And then he's like, I have lined up a paragraph. I'm ready to go off.
Yeah.
Ready?
He won't even say the paragraph, man. He'll be like, you know, I'm just listening. And Jonathan, the way his mind works, it's like if he thinks you're full of like crap or like BS, whatever, it just clicks off. Like, dude, I'm not even listening to you, honestly. I don't even care what you're gonna say, you know. Yeah. I have no, you know.
So that's why he ignores me all the time.
That's why he ignores you, right? Because you're talking. He's like, dude, you're providing nothing to me. You know, it's all pointless, man.
But I mean, going into the government and stuff, right? There's a lot going on.
Can you pass me the?
It seems like
Trace, son?
2020's been just a crazy year.
Sure.
So what's your take on everything, like with the coronavirus? Like, how's your family taking it? Like, what do y'all think about it? And then
coronavirus. I mean, it's unfortunate.
Wear your mask, fools.
Yeah. I brought, by the way, I did come in with this, but
per
CDC guidelines, more than 6 feet, no need for a mask.
We had him tested at the front door.
Plus, we said, you know, we're all drinking whiskey, so it kills all the bacteria.
Yeah, it kills anything you got. Kills anything.
But, I mean, coronavirus, like I don't know, like it sucks. Sure, I have my cousin Andres. He's in Guadalajara. He's working with just COVID patients. Yeah. You know, I saw him a picture. He's like head to toe gear. Yeah. He sweats like gallons. I mean, because you're covered and you can't take it off all day. Yeah. And you only have usually one suit per day.
Yeah, and they're working like 12, 14-hour days.
Drenched overnight.
How many times do they have to change your mask throughout? Like, if you're wearing it all day, I feel like there's like a... I mean, is one mask, like, that's what I tell Jonathan and Mike, like, man, they're not, like, they're super strict, like, wear your mask, but they don't give, like, proper guidelines, like, okay, if you're wearing your mask 24/7, like,
it's impossible to get into,
mask, you know, like,
it's impossible to get into, like, nuts and bolts, right?
Well, the biggest thing is that really nobody understands what this disease is, you know?
Yeah. I don't know.
But
that's why they're advising, like, really, man, stay home, you know? Yeah. Stay your ass home if you can. Yeah. But, yeah, I mean, to me, it's very unfortunate. It sucks. Luckily, we've recently had some family members that got diagnosed with COVID. They're okay now. But,
he's like, oh, what?
Yeah, me, I have it now. I'm
sorry to hear about that.
But yeah, it's unfortunate. I mean, it sucks, and it just they turned out okay. They had little flu-like symptoms, but you know they're okay. Yeah. But it's unfortunate. I'm to the point where, like, when are we gonna get past it? You know, like, when, you know, obviously, you know, it's not gonna go away, right? Kind of just like the flu now. It started off as a pandemic, and now it's just an annual thing that comes and goes. Mm-hmm. So where's the, you know,
where's
the end of the road to where you like get back to normal and kind of address it as it goes?
I don't know if there's like an objective sort of metric as to what, but at least a year.
Yeah.
Like the end of this year, or like another, like a full year
like
from
a full
today.
12 months from today.
Yeah, because I mean, when we're in Colorado in March for
when
spring
it really
break,
hit the fan,
and it kind of like
as soon as we got back,
stuff
like,
hit
everything
the fan
shut
here
down.
in the U.S. particularly, you know, and we didn't really think too much of it when we were on vacation coming back, and then we kind of saw the chaos where grocery stores were empty and lines were forming and all this stuff. So then we kind of like, all right, it's kind of a big deal. And now we're at where we're at today. But even a few months ago, they were like, once we get into summer, the heat of the summer should kind of kill it off. Yeah. But now you've kind of seen it ramp back up, right? So it's it's very unknown. It's just,
well, I mean, there's a lot of factors, and not just with COVID, just with like, I don't know if it's COVID, the actual, swine flu, seasonal flu, common allergies, cold, whatever. The heat, like they said, should kill it. Like, obviously, like, there's been studies saying, like, hey, man, honestly, the beach might be the best place as long as you're kind of keeping that social distancing, because of the heat, the humidity, and all that kind of chokes these viruses out. But then it's like, okay, man, well, don't take it to the extreme. Like, don't everybody go to the beach, because when you're, like, inches apart from each other, I don't care what. If you have allergies, you're going to give it to your, if you have a cold, you're going to
pass it on,
spread it. So, I mean, there's just so many factors. The bottom line is that you got to ask what you're really asking. One, not too many people actually understand COVID. It's a new disease. People are still doing, publishing articles. I mean, I don't know, you probably see on Instagram, everybody posts like, oh, this new article just came out of, PubMed, check it out. And I was like, all right, come on, guys, take it easy.
The one that's really hot is that JAMA just released for a bunch of pediatricians, sort of like the recommendations, because people are talking about opening schools back up.
Yeah.
So they're unsure as to what to do.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you're immunosuppressed, or if you have asthma or something like that, probably not best to do it. But I don't know if you guys, I saw a clip from MSNBC where they interviewed a bunch of pediatricians, and they were like, would you send your kids back to school? And they all said yes. They're like, without a doubt, of course we'd send them back to school. And when they panned back to the host, he just goes, they all said yes.
Yeah, they all said yes. Like, I don't know what to do with that, right? I'm surprised a little bit, right?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, like I said, again, factors, right? They're probably struggling at home. They're all pediatricians. The babysitter can't come over today because of COVID and all that. So the husband has to stay, or husband or wife has to stay home. Like, send our kids back to school.
They're making a decision based on how it is for them personally, right?
Exactly, and that's what everybody's doing right now in this scenario. Nobody's really thinking of like the greater good, right? It's like, all right, what can I,
What would you do if you had kids right now and you had the option to send them or have them do virtual? What would you do?
Whoa, man, I'm just trying to get in my new apartment, right?
Like, I'm just trying to. You jumped like 10 years in.
These physicians that I'm talking about actually cited that article from JAMA, which essentially said that if you don't have any sort of complications or anything, that it would be fine to send your kids back. I don't know. I don't want to play the hypothetical game because I don't know what I would do.
Yeah.
But I don't blame people for not wanting to send the kids, and I don't blame them for wanting to.
Exactly.
And it's not necessarily that it's because they're younger and they don't want them in the house, because, I mean, we don't know that. But it could also be because they genuinely,
feel there's no issue, right?
Yeah, I'm like I said, we're all ignorant to some degree. I don't know. They might know. They probably know a lot more than I do, and that's why maybe they made that decision confidently.
Well, I mean, the stats are showing. I mean, like I said, I don't go and fucking investigate the numbers that are shown to me, but apparently I don't have the numbers either. But apparently, ICUs are being overwhelmed here and there, right? So I mean. But then you got to see, like you said, well, who's more susceptible to it, right? I mean, I'm sure if you were to get like some sort of number, I'm sure you're going to find elderly people who already had cancer, diabetes, obese, all these people who are kind of, like you said, susceptible to the disease, right? So a lot of factors,
like on me, like I personally don't really, not that I don't care, that's the wrong word. It just, to me, it really doesn't bother me,
right?
My kids, they want to go back. They want to go back into the classroom, and my wife's kind of 50-50.
Well, let me ask you the hypothetical. If they were to tell them, like, hey, we're opening schools 2 weeks from now.
Well, they already, like our school district said they're doing
Fort
virtual,
Bend,
right?
But I'm saying if they did,
if they gave the option.
If they, like, hey, like, we're going to go back to school. Or no, not even the option. Like, hey, schools are opening, your kid has to come back. Would you kind of put up, like, a little fight? Like, hey, no, I mean, I don't feel safe. I don't think
so, man. I think I would be okay.
You're not too worried about the disease.
I'm not too worried about it. Yeah. I hate to say, because it sounds like I'm kind of an asshole, right? Like, I don't care about it. As long as it's not affecting me, I don't care, which I do. A lot of people are struggling and suffering. So I'm not saying that this is not a big deal or that I can care less about it, but I'm just saying, as far as me here at home with my kids going back, if the school was to come back and say, hey, come back to school August 14th when it starts, and my kids are okay with it, wife's okay with it, and we'll follow safety protocol to the T, but I really don't have an issue with it, man. Obviously, what upsets me is when these parents or people are feeling kind of sick and they're still going out and about. It's like, come on, we got to use more common sense. Common sense has to really apply to a lot of this stuff, right? You're feeling sick, stay home. Why are you going out anyway, you know?
Yeah.
Some of those things, and then that's going to happen.
No,
right?
It's all about, like, empathizing. Like you said, I'm on the same boat as you. I mean, with all this COVID hitting, I'm pretty sure I had it back in February, man. Honestly, one of our cousins, shout out Hector, who's my cousin Hector's probably going to come on later this week. Please come back on after I say this. Pretty sure we got it all after his wedding. You know, I had a big, beautiful reception, right? Like a week later, you know, I was fucking dying.
A lot
I
of
had
people
the flu.
got sick.
A lot of people did, yeah. And what was weird about it is that usually, I mean, I don't get the flu often, but I mean, it's not like a big surprise when I do get the flu.
Do you remember what around early, mid, or late February?
It was early February.
It was February
9th.
The case was only 14 in the U.S. So most likely you didn't.
Yeah.
Because my sister, most likely you didn't.
Yeah.
Because my sister went to Washington, D.C., and she also, same time, but she was flu positive.
Yeah, well, I mean, not to throw anybody under the bus, whatever, but a lot of the people who were at that party came from New York, where was the kind of the hot spot at first, you know, where it eventually, you know, became so
because we all got sick, like in our immediate family. I mean, really, he got sick. My mom, my dad, Jonathan, and
too
me.
Much to the.
I think my sister, my wife, and my brother-in-law were the only ones that really didn't get sick.
And it was.
But what was crazy was like it was the end of February when my mom and dad and my brother got sick, and my mom was feeling really bad. You know, she couldn't really breathe too good. She had very high fever,
that's what I was gonna say,
sweats.
Well, one of the
and she went and got tested for the flu and bronchitis, I think. And they both came back negative, and they're like, you don't have either one. But they weren't testing for coronavirus.
This was early Feb, right?
Yeah, and this is all like, you know, it's kind of irrelevant now because she got through it after 5-6 days. It passed, and she's better now.
Well,
obviously.
for those who are watching, you can obviously get it multiple times. You know, if you get it once and you're healed, 2 weeks later, you can definitely get it again. But to Mike's point, like, she got it, like, and we've been taking, you know, now we know better.
Just drink 7-Up.
Drink 7-Up. You know, put Vicks on your chest. Put it on your chest.
Sana colita de rana.
Sana colita de rana. You're good. Get an egg.
Good.
Rub it on you. Whatever that does. It might not even be for
Does your family do that? The whole like egg thing when
hello, he's Catholic, dude. They don't believe in that witchcraft.
Well, my in-laws are Catholic too, and they do it.
Nah, I think that's just more
like when they cuando te dan ojo, like.
Oh, I've heard about it, but no. Yeah. I've heard only from friends.
Like, we don't do bullshit.
Yeah, he's like, no.
He's like, eggs are for eating.
Yeah, we cook them. We don't rub them.
Well, anyway, it's funny because you'll go to my in-laws. My wife's gonna hate me after this, but. Went to Elisa's, my sister-in-law's, the other day, and sure enough, I saw a cup on the counter with an egg that's like all like blown up in a
give
cup.
some background to it. Apparently, what is it for?
So apparently, ojo is like
a bad curse.
It's like
almost,
a bad
right?
curse when someone wishes bad on you. You know, sometimes let's say I have, you know, I'm wearing some nice shoes, right, and I walk in somewhere, and somebody, let's say David, looks at them.
David, you would do that?
And he's like, oh, man, look at this guy showing off, right? And he, like, looks at him, and then afterwards I start feeling bad. The whole thing is like, te dieron ojo, like someone wished bad on you. So they'll go and, like, rub you down and pray with a boiled egg.
Oh, they pray, though?
Yeah, they like, say a prayer. I don't know.
This is definitely not sanctioned by the Catholic Church. Yeah,
this is not in the catechism.
They'll get a glass
this is not in the catechism
with water. And they'll crack the egg and, like, dump it in there.
And if it floats.
And if it, like, gets all nasty looking and floats to the top, it's, like, out of your body. But if the egg is, like, normal and sinks to the bottom, like, you never had it. Something else was wrong with you type of thing.
Tell Elisa to take her ghost story somewhere else, all right? We're not listening.
I always get to the house and see those eggs, and I'm like, I could have ate this.
Yeah, I could have ate that. I'm hungry, right?
Just chug it down as a shake.
Yeah.
As a shake.
Rocky Balboa, man. Yeah, protein. Is that a good source of protein still?
Eggs?
Or just like raw eggs, like if you were to pour.
I don't know. I will not do that.
You've never done it?
No,
because salmonella.
I mean, I think
right?
like it should be the same as eating a cooked egg, right?
Not at all. Not at all. That's like saying eating a live chicken is the same as eating Popeyes. All right?
No, bitch.
What?
If you eat a live chicken or eat chicken breast grilled, it's the same thing.
No, come on, bro.
Yeah, why would you eat a raw chicken?
There's always things that go in food, so I thoroughly. I'd rather thoroughly.
There's not. Come on. Cooking a chicken is a lot different from eating a live chicken.
Well, I didn't say live.
That's what you just said.
No, I didn't.
What'd you say?
I said, because you said, well, eating the egg raw. I said, well, you might as well eat it cooked. And you were like, it's not the same thing.
It's not.
Yeah, it should be.
How is eating it raw? Well, because I don't know. The way I'm like, I'm a Neanderthal right here. If you heat something, you're gonna burn a lot of that stuff, right?
You're not burning protein.
Well, no, wait. Honestly, it's a serious question. If a raw egg has salmonella and you cook it, does the fire or the heat burn that salmonella out?
Some have high heat resistance. I don't know. It
depends.
It depends.
It's a bacteria, right?
God, I should know this. Yeah. No, I don't know.
Kids, just go get your MD. Don't go get a DO, all right? Because obviously it's a fucking shit show up there. So, jeez. And definitely stay out of Arizona.
I don't know everything. I don't know everything.
No,
so what city in Arizona are you moving to?
It's Glendale, Arizona. So it's like much like Houston, and then you have Sugar Land, Pearland, and all these cities. It's Phoenix, Tempe, Glendale, Scottsdale, and all like that. Glendale's on the west side of Phoenix.
Is the weather kind of similar to here in Houston? Like, it's just hot as balls, humid? Well, I hear it's like really dry out there.
It's not as humid, huh?
It's
it just gets
zero humid. It's desert. It's the desert.
Dry.
So essentially, it's yesterday I was checking. Not yesterday. A few days ago, it was 117 with dry heat. I don't know if you guys have ever been to Vegas, but it's like Vegas.
It's been a couple of times. He doesn't remember any of it, but he's like, I don't remember.
Did we go to Vegas? No, but yeah, I prefer. I used to live in Southern California, so the weather in Southern California and the Inland Empire where I used to live is almost the same as it is there. So for me, it was
in Arizona.
Yeah, it's the same as there in Arizona.
You would think in Southern California because they're right by the Pacific Ocean, huh? Like,
well, yeah, it depends if you're in Santa Monica or something like that. But the Inland Empire, which is further, it's like an hour and a half east of LA. That's where Big Bear is. A lot of people go there for skiing and snowboarding. Yeah. It's like a big destination in Southern California, Big Bear.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that weather's very similar. So to me, it didn't really affect me, and I love golfing, like I said. Yeah. And there's so many nice places to go golf out there. So I should be studying.
I'm so jealous of David right now. Like, he's gonna go on and embark on this new adventure, and then I'm gonna just keep doing this lame ass podcast.
We'll still be here 5 years, and he'll be
fantastic.
I know, man.
He'll own like a big ass golf course in like LA.
Like, Matt, come out sometime.
Be chilling with LeBron.
Yeah, chilling with LeBron. Who's in Arizona? No.
Like, hey, get LeBron on the podcast.
Chilling with I'll get LeBron on. Devin Booker and all that from the Phoenix Suns. They don't have any major sports teams out there though, huh?
The Suns. The Diamondbacks.
Phoenix, Arizona Diamondbacks.
I think the Coyotes for hockey. If
Cardinals.
Hockey,
the Cardinals. Whatever.
And spring training. I love baseball. And I finally got to go to spring training last year.
Oh, really?
That was one of the best experiences I've ever had. Yeah. And actually, I have an old teammate from high school. He's in AAA right now with the Brewers. His name's Jacob Nottingham. And I got to see him play. Like, we're like too close, but it's always nice also to see like an old teammate. You're like making the big bucks.
Yeah, right.
Doing something.
Oh, well, it's similar to this situation.
No.
Classmate, like,
I'm broke, dude. I'm broke.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah, for now.
I'll be broke until I'm 60, and then eventually I'll start making
60 till you're like 32 years old. You'll be making bank. Dude. Well, that was going to be my next question, without it getting too personal and all that, because we're talking about the differences in actual like, course, requisites and whatnot, the process. It's a very similar process, DOMD, am I right? I mean, did you have to take an MCAT to apply to DO
Yeah,
school?
everything's the same. Everything's the same.
Right?
Like I said, the only difference in terms of coursework is the fact that you do the extra OMM and OMT, but everything else, micro, physio, anatomy, everything else is exactly the same. Clinical rotations are all the same. But yeah, it's just the additional OMM and the philosophy. Like, I'm a huge proponent of the liberal arts, which I used to hate on when I was in high school. People were like, the liberal arts. And then when I got to St. Thomas, I was like, are you kidding me? The liberal arts make the world go around.
Yeah, he was like, his name was Saul before, he went to St. Thomas, and they changed it to Paul, right?
Wait, what?
God damn it, dude.
I got the reference, the biblical reference.
Yeah, that you're freaking like,
I didn't. He lost me.
He was like all anti-Catholic before he went to St. Thomas.
No, not at all.
I hate, none of this, blah, blah, blah. And then he got immersed, and he was converted, man. I did the conversion for him, man. Yeah, actually.
I'm gonna do the Trump gif. False.
Yeah, that's false. That's fake news, guys.
That's
fake news. No, I'm teasing, guys.
But that's why I love St. Thomas too, because I went to California. I love Texas more because especially in St. Thomas, because
suck on that, Eric.
Yeah, I'm stuck on that, Arizona. I like He's Texas. A Texas guy for life.
I love Texas, but seeing people that are more of sort of like they have the same moral compass that you do, and it's a lot easier to get along with people like that because it's just. Yeah. And also Hispanic background, it's just you click, like when you meet people that are totally different from you, you're like. Awesome, but it's not fully.
Awesome,
you're great. You're a great person.
Nah, but like you said, it comes easy, man. There's certain like not even jokes, but just like certain things you say a certain way, and they understand it. They understand the humor in it.
Yeah.
for whatever reasons, I know.
Even little things like no mames.
No mames. Yeah, man, it was so cool. Like getting the cool of that. Yeah,
like the finger guns.
Fingers and all that. So much fun, man.
No, but feel free to ask me anything about like the difference between MDs or DOs or like
training
or anything.
That's what I was gonna ask. Because honestly, I lost my train of thought. I was gonna ask something.
I gotta put my Grey's Anatomy hat back on.
Yeah, put it back on. Well, no, honestly, because we're talking about the process and how it's unfair that there's kind of this negative social stigma on DOs.
Mm-hmm.
Because ultimately, like you said, the coursework and the process is just as grueling, just as difficult, just as arduous as going and try to get your MD, right? It's same thing, but if not, you got to even learn more stuff, right? Yeah. But my question, I was going to say, hopefully it's not too personal or whatever, but I fully realize, as far as like, fully realize, because obviously, right, it's kind of a dumb question to say, who gets paid more, DO or MD? It's like, well, it depends what you're doing, right?
Yeah,
obviously.
Yeah.
But just for conversation's sake, like a fully realized
residents
DO,
go in, do they go in making the same?
No, so it depends. It varies by state, it varies by city. So, and it varies by specialty. So if you, I don't know how much it is because technically these national averages, I don't know if they actually distinguish between MDs and DOs, but in residency you usually make about $50,000 a year.
Yeah.
But you work about 100 hours,
50,000 hours,
100 hours a week.
Yeah.
I had a friend. I don't even know if it's possible.
Grey's Anatomy.
Yeah, he's Grey's Anatomy.
So you know all about the hospital life that I don't.
Don't get blown up in a hospital surgical room, bro.
So it depends. I think. I mean, if people can Google it, it's like the average income, like the top paying specialties are dermatology, interventional cardiology, orthopedics. They're all like north of $500,000, and that's average
in general.
And in general,
on
average,
neurology or something, right?
Yeah. The lowest paid ones are like family physicians, sort of like these general physicians. They
see. I kind of thought it was flip-flop. I thought those family physicians made.
No,
they obviously surgeons will always make more.
Procedures is where the money's at.
But I mean, those family physicians don't do too bad. Like
the average is like around $250. But
that's some walking around money right there.
But
kudos to David for thinking that's chump change right there.
No, I always say not to be cheesy, but I'm like I've always wanted to have a big family. My parents come from big families, and I'm like I hope I have enough just so I can have a big family and live comfortably. Like that's one of my goals. It's just
$500,000 will do it.
Yeah, I think $250,000 will do it. My grandfather had 9 children. And I don't think he was making $250,000. All right, so I think you'll be fine. All right, you should be good with whatever you're making. $50,000 back in the '60s was the fucking gold rush over there, man. No.
Yeah, but it depends. It really does depend.
Well, I mean, but like to be fair, residencies. That's not you
don't go into your residency
like,
important,
I'm trying to make my money here. So no, obviously this is just another like stepping stone before. I actually move on to my career.
Yeah. Well, that's what I was asking because that's kind of like the starter platform right before.
Yeah, exactly. And I think not even some of. I mean, do they get salaries? I thought a lot of it was like stipends.
Residency. I'm pretty sure residency is salary.
They get paid, right?
Bro.
Yeah, it's salary. Yeah, because that's why for example, I had a physician that I worked with. He went to Harvard for his residency, and he was telling me that's where the Harvard Commission. They were the ones who originally started that you cannot work too many hours because there's a huge problem right now with physician suicide and medical student suicide.
I want to keep going. It's going to lead up to my next question.
Yeah. And so. For example, the USMLE Step 1, which is a licensing exam, they just made it pass-fail. Before it was like you got an actual score, like a digit, which determined your future. If you did bad on that exam, you couldn't go into high-paying specialties. If you did well, you could.
Damn.
They cancel all this in the hopes that mental health will increase and will help students. So I lost my train of thought. What were you going to ask me about?
No, it happens all the time. We always do it. You son of a gun. Well, going back to mental health. No, mental health, right?
Yeah.
Obviously, it's a big, real quick side note. The thing with mental health is that it's one of those things, kind of like this COVID, nobody really understands it. Mental health, we're only barely now getting the technology to kind of, and not even the technology, just like the social awareness that it's a thing, mental. It's not just being like on The Office, right? Depression, isn't that just another word for feeling bummed out, right?
Dwight, you ignorant slut.
Dwight, you ignorant slut. Matthew, you ignorant slut. No, but it's an actual, it's a medical condition,
disease,
right? It's a disease, right? And that's what they're understanding now. And they're just kind of barely now getting on the forefront of all this, innovative technology and innovative research about mental health. But going back to that, man, I was going to ask you, honestly, just kind of, in essence, like, how are you dealing with it? But
in what sense?
in the sense that, I mean, one, college is no joke, right? I mean, I've made the argument that, hey, man, as long as you kind of stick your nose in the books for a little bit, you know, you can manage with C's, right? Worst case scenario, like get C's and D's and all that. You really don't have to learn. Because, I mean, you and I, we'll both be honest. You go to college, you're like, okay, man, you're just getting by. You're really not, like, absorbing the material. You're not having any real insight with this. You're just taking the test. You're passing the
there to
class.
check a block, right? Get your
exactly,
degree and that's
right?
it.
Yeah, getting your degree and you really... You came out with a degree.
C's get degrees?
Yeah, C's get degrees, right?
Yeah.
There's some people like that. I may be one of them myself. I don't know. You know, I don't think about it that much. But I'm losing my train of thought now.
No, you're asking me about mental health, about how I cope with it, or
so it's no joke. Getting your undergraduate degree. I mean, you'll have friends. I've had a degree. I mean, you'll have friends. I've had, honestly, when I was at St. Thomas, a few people come up to me in tears. You know, like, hey, I just bombed this OChem test. Like, I don't know what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna have to drop the class. I'm like, hey, like, me, you know, I'm like hungover, like coming back the next day. I'm like, hey, like, you know, chill. No, honestly, I was like, hey, no, honestly, take it easy. Like, go talk to the professor, you know? Like, there's always a way out of it, you know? Like, go talk to him, go study. If you have to drop it, hey, drop it. Who cares, you know? I mean, you'll come back better than ever. You'll study harder,
more prepared,
you know? Yeah, more prepared. There's always a better option, right? Like, don't panic, you know?
That's why I think...
No. Well, the question was for you, so you go ahead. And I don't want to get you off your train of thought.
UST, right? Just even getting your bachelor's is a huge, like, arduous, very high-pressured environment.
I guess his question is your question to him is like, how does it affect you and like what?
Yeah, well, one obviously just graduating.
What do you do
very
when you
high
get
pressure,
overwhelmed?
and then getting your master's. Very high pressure because obviously you're being examined. You're doing. Not only are you being examined and forced to study. It'd be one thing if they were just like, "Hey, man, study this. We're gonna have a test next week." It's like, no, man. You gotta study. You gotta absorb it, and you gotta have like overall present it. You present it in research.
You have the philosopher. Have you ever heard of Sisyphus by Camus, the philosopher, French Camus? It's just Sisyphus was a guy that was punished by the gods to push a boulder up a hill, and every time he would get up to the top of the hill, the gods would push it back down and the boulder would come back down, and he had to do that for all eternity. And that's why they say in bioethics that's what medicine is like, and studying in general is like. So it's the mentality that's important.
Yeah. So my question to you is, you know, you just got out of from what I know, you went undergraduate, right? You graduated from St. Thomas. Right after, you went to Arizona, got your master's.
That's right.
You came back, you were doing studying, working, you know.
Yeah.
Studying, like, probably more than ever this past, like, year and a half.
I studied, I think, more in a quarter of my master's program that I did altogether in 4 years or 5 years of college.
Yeah.
I could not, and that's, but yeah, sorry, I'll be more succinct. One is exercise. I think if you need, or something that I play guitar. I love
How do you
playing
deal with
music.
it? That was going to be your answer in it now.
So to me, it's exercise. I hate running, but I'll go swimming. I'll go play golf. I'll go play tennis. I'll go to the gym. I like front squats. I don't know why I like doing front squats, but like because I think they're so difficult. Front squats, yeah, with the bar right here.
Ooh.
But I hate those. But
I thought front squats. Just real quick.
Well, no, he means with the bar and the weight.
Yeah,
right?
instead of doing back squats like with the bar on your shoulders,
like
you do it on the like if you were cleaning it.
Oh, okay, yeah. I get you. Yeah.
Instead of back here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
you don't use the fucking bench press to go up. Okay, awesome.
Yeah, exercise, families. To me, it's very important, and it's always good to have time off to talk to your family, FaceTime your parents or my sister, and getting time off, going out sometimes. People think that like just because you have to do like. If you're going into medicine or dentistry or law school or anything that you need to, or engineering, that you need to just be in the books. But sometimes you got to give yourself a break. Like, we're all fallible. Like, there are times where I was like, I have a huge test in 3 days. I'm not going to study tomorrow because you just can't. You physically can't.
Yeah.
So it's exercise, having a good base of family and friends, and mostly I say God's grace.
Yeah. No, man.
If you don't have that, like, it's rough.
So who in your family is the shoulder to lean on and really talk to? Is it your mom?
My mom. Yeah.
I think that's all his
family. I don't think that I don't know if they watch this, but But
well, no, it's kind of like that's a general kind of consensus.
We were talking about that, you know, with my sister the other day, and shout out to dads because, like, I love my dad very much, and he's always been someone that I could go to and stuff. It's just not the same sometimes. Now that I'm older, you know, talking about manly stuff, fatherhood, and all that, I obviously go to my dad.
Of course.
But growing up, you know, and all that, my mom was like my confidant that I can go tell and wouldn't really have to feel like judged or anything like that. So that's why I was asking that question.
And I think a lot of it just has to go that your dad's
I
probably
make sure I wasn't a mama's boy. You know?
I know. God, go rub mom's feet or something. Jeez,
Have you ever seen those memes where it's like Mexican moms with their sons versus their daughters, and with the sons they're like, "Ay, mi amor," and they always kiss them, and with the daughters, "Hija de tu chingada, déjame en paz."
That was Mandy. I'm laughing at her. I don't know, dude. She's just as spoiled as anybody.
She's spoiled by both parents.
By both parents. Oh, she's my only daughter or whatever. No, man. So you hear that, folks? Exercise, have a badass family, and believe in God. There you go. That's the 3 keys to solving America. That's what's going to make America great again right there. That came out of the words of David Jaramillo himself.
So I need to get on the exercise train. I do the other 2 okay, I guess.
But find something that you like to do. For example, I like tennis. So to me, it's like when you're running, you don't even think about, because you're actually enjoying the sport. If you like soccer, when you play soccer, you're not thinking about the running. You're just like, man, I got to keep running so that I can play more soccer. So it makes it tolerable, at least.
Me, Mike, and Jonathan, we kind of came up to it. We love playing sports. I mean, our bodies obviously don't show it, right? You used to, I'll be wasted the next day.
We're all flabby, dude. I got the beer belly.
Yeah, exactly, right? But I mean, we're heavy into sports, and like you said, there's a difference between playing sports and just going for a run, right? Someone could run 10 miles, would not last 5 seconds on a tennis court or on a soccer field or whatever, right? It's a little different getting used to it. But we kind of had it hard coming up. I mean, our parent or our dad was so much into sports, soccer. My uncle played professional soccer and all that.
Really?
Yeah. And my other uncle got invited to try out for the U.S. men's national team, an invitational. They were really badass soccer players, man. Honestly, all of them. So coming up, like you were saying, you don't have to run that. You don't think about it. No, they made our asses run, man. Like,
what did you guys grow up playing? Soccer, pretty much.
Yeah.
Well, they were just natural athletes. They could play any sports, but I mean,
what about you guys? Did you guys play any sports?
His sport was basketball.
Yeah,
he played varsity basketball.
Yeah, but I played soccer too.
Yeah,
soccer. My dad honestly liked tennis a lot, and honestly, I'll tell you one thing, man. Like tennis is, you got to be in pretty good shape to play tennis.
You have to have good coordination more than anything.
Competitively, if you're gonna go just BS, obviously anyone can go BS, but.
I wonder how much of it is actual wrist strength, right? That's what it looks like.
Maybe honestly. You have a one-handed backhand, wrist strength.
Well, because I mean, when you hit, you kind of do that motion, but you're like,
they know how to hit it, man. They know how to angle that thing to.
Which is that's what I'm saying. More like coordination, getting used to the actual movements.
Do you ever go play here in Siena?
Yeah, actually, my sister and I went to play last night. We've been going 3 or 4 times a week.
Yeah,
she's been doing it for me because she's like, I don't want to go, and I'm like, I'm leaving. Just do me this one song.
Guilt tripper, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Your only brother's leaving.
Come on. It's funny with her. She realizes as she's playing that she enjoys it, and you can tell that she comes in con mejeta. You're like I don't want to play it, and then after 10 minutes, she's like, all right, let's go. She's all into it.
What times do you guys usually go?
Well, the weather does not allow for anything while the sun is up.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Depending if you told me at 2 o'clock, if you told
night.
me at 2 o'clock, I'd be David, go to hell, man. Damn, I am not going out there.
I mean, one time when my parents, because we used to live in Sugarland, my parents got a house here in Siena.
Oh yeah, you hit me up.
Yeah, I had just moved back because I got back from grad school, and it was the middle of the day, 1 or 2 in the afternoon, and I see this sweaty guy running on the sidewalk, and I'm driving with my family. And I was like, I know that silhouette. Yeah. And as we're driving by, I say it was mad, and I'm like, honk the horn, honk the horn, honk the horn.
You did?
Yeah.
See, so I told you.
That was me.
I was running, and I heard someone honk at me. And then you sent me a message like, hey, dude, what the hell are you doing outside? It's so hot or whatever. I was like, hey, man, you got to get into this. So that was who honked at me. He was like, no, dude, I saw you from my house or something. I was like, he's fucking lying. So he was driving by and saw me.
So don't underplay it. You put in work, too. Okay? You were running in the blistering.
Honestly, I only... my sister, because I had an apartment with my sister and her husband, and my brother-in-law Eric. He's a sadist or something. I don't know what his deal is, man. He loves running in the blistering heat. He'll go at 1 o'clock or 2, whenever it's just super hot. Damn, dude, you're gonna pass out. He's like, oh, I love it. I guess from his childhood he was used to it because he used to play soccer as well. I was like, no way, man. But he would go running sometimes, and I'd, go drinking on a Friday or Saturday, and you wake up feeling like crap, and you're like, oh, man, I got to do something.
You gotta go run those beers off, dude.
Yeah, I got to run, and you wouldn't, because you'd only last like a mile, and you're like, oh, man, I'm about to pass out. I'm not doing anything else. But that time you saw so.
That's why you got to drink the Corona Lights and the Michelob Ultras. 64 calories.
Those are the honestly, two worst beers you mentioned right
Michelob Ultras, if I get drunk on them, I'm having nightmares, dude. It's guaranteed. Like, I have a bad night.
Is that your go-to beer?
No.
What's your go-to? Because I know we were talking before the show. Like, you have a palate now.
For sure not IPAs. I don't understand how anybody likes IPAs. I'm sorry for all the hipsters out there. Me either, but I like Pacifico, Stella Artois. And I'm a fan of classic old Corona. Sue me. Actually, Karbach has really good beers. Karbach?
Nah, you said Corona. Honestly, you're going to have to get out of here.
Yeah, man. Corona. Hey, we're going to have to shut the podcast
I don't like Corona.
Okay, what do you use to make your micheladas then?
Dos Equis.
Dos Equis.
Yeah,
I forgot. I'm sorry. No, I really do like Dos Equis.
Tecate Reds?
Tecate Reds give me sick, too.
Do they?
I'm actually too addicted to micheladas, and the worst part is they give me heartburn.
I don't like them too much, man. These guys like them so much.
Man.
Yeah.
Oh, dude, right after the little antacid things,
drop the Nexium in there, bro. Like, drop it. I put like 2 in there. Yeah,
just pop them straight in.
Yeah, or like took 4.
The doctor's like, "Well, stop drinking them." Like, "Well, no."
Well, that's not gonna happen.
That's not gonna happen.
That's
so
not
what can I do?
You got a DO, so don't tell me, right? Like, you got an MD, so don't tell me.
You're pretty much like a PE teacher.
Yeah,
so
right.
Don't tell me.
You should be teaching PE.
You're a glorified PE.
Bergen Elementary, which is down the road.
I don't even know I'm here right now.
I don't even know why I'm here. I don't even know what I'm doing. I can pop your neck, but that's it.
Yeah.
Nah. Get trashed, dude. Michael,
but so, what's your plan though to open your own practice eventually?
That's a great question. A great question. I'm not sure. I've always, when I was in St. Thomas, I had thought about pursuing an academic career in either like philosophy or history, like getting a master's and doctorate and then teaching. Because again, I'm a nerd at heart, but then I found medicine, so I wouldn't mind doing an academic sort of thing where I can do research because I love research, and then also teaching students. But also, I'd love to have a family and be able to,
That's what
I have all these goals
man.
that I have not only for me professionally, but to help out other people.
That's great, man.
Yeah, just
private practice would give me more money to make that happen.
So many people, I think, make the mistake. Like you said, we're all fallible, but I think a lot of people grow up coming a certain way thinking that they have to compartmentalize everything, like, oh, this is my professional career, this is my living career. It's like, nah, man, it's at the end of the day, you're a person. You're going through life. It makes sense for us because we believe in God, right? We believe in the that in the afterlife, that this all has meaning, that we're all supposed to do and act a certain way, that we're supposed to abide by certain rules, right? So regardless of what you do, as long as you're doing that, that's what's important, right? To do what kind of your purpose is. So that makes sense. But a lot of people, I want to get this in my career. I want to be this as a family man. I want to do this, and it's like, well, you can't. They're all intertwined. The way you act here is going to affect the way you succeed here.
Yeah, absolutely.
The way you succeed as a family man is going to affect how you succeed as a good brother, good father, good
Because
doctor.
I mean, sometimes we get caught up in saying, how can I, So I'm married. I got 2 kids, right? A 13, 11-year-old. So sometimes we look at life and we're like, what can I do to make the most money, to give my family the most that I can? But we don't really look at all what that picture paints, right? We look at it like, okay, we can obviously make money in this country, so we go do it, but we don't realize that we're never home, right? That we focus all that energy, all that attention into working, busting your ass. And you can give everything to your kids, but guess what? 6 years have gone by and you gave them no attention. And they might look back and say, man, shit, we had nice things, but we don't really know who the hell you were. You were never home, like we're with mom all the time. And so it's, to your point, it's like a wide spectrum of, A affects B kind of thing, right? And sometimes, I think what you said is kind of the right...
the nail on the head, man.
The nail on the head right there. Because it's really high level. And everything else is going to obviously interlock to help you get that goal. If you achieve that goal, everything else will fall into place type of thing. I think sometimes people get too caught up in things that they think are right, but they don't know the negative effect the domino effect that it's going to have on other things,
I mean, there's
right?
that great quote, right? Like, the worst things in, like, life have been done with the best intentions, right? It's just... it's going back to the way we started this, right? I mean, we're talking shit about COVID and whatnot, and DOs and MDs and all that. It's just lack, ignorance sometimes to what you don't know. And I think once
he said it right. You know,
we don't know. Yeah,
we don't
and
know.
I think once you take that humility and that empathy, whatever, to kind of just, I really don't know it all. I don't have all the. I definitely don't have all the answers. Let me take a time to just reflect.
Accept when you're wrong,
Yeah, exactly, right? And be open-minded, like David said, I mean, he's like, I don't want to say hard-headed. He's the most convicted guy I know. He speaks with such conviction and all that.
I've met David probably one time in my life. I think at Sugarland. I think you were there when I met you for the first time. So this is the second time I've ever seen you. So for those that are watching, like it's not like we've had this like huge bond, at least not with me.
They're actual brothers, guys.
Yeah, we're actually brothers. Matthew's adopted.
What?
I'm the translucent one.
Yeah, right.
But no, I mean, and just hearing him talk for this time period right here, he's obviously, when he speaks, he's done the research.
Yeah.
He should be a salesman, dude, because
you'd be a great salesman, bro.
I would, whatever you're selling, I'll buy it. I'll buy it. I'll buy it right now.
I'll buy it right now, dude. I'll buy it right now.
It's like Dad always says, when you're a badass salesman, you can sell sand in the desert, and you're going to Arizona, and I'll buy sand.
I'll buy sand
right now.
Yeah.
I'll take it by
he
the
wouldn't be a good
load.
salesman over there because he tell the truth, though.
Yeah,
That's what's so cool about
truth.
him is that when he speaks to you, it's like, all right, man, I know you're being cool with me. Because if like, you were to say something that, like, not wrong, but if something didn't jive with you, you'd be polite about it, but you would, like me personally, like I know, like, we hung out with multiple people, and it's like, okay, David really doesn't get along with this person, and like rightfully so, right? Like the same reason why I initially didn't like that person, but I just succumbed to temptation, whatever it is. Like, okay, I'll deal with it. To be honest,
yeah,
right?
I've never really had anyone in my life that I like dislikes. Like, I mean, there's people that I dislike, but not like hate to the point. But
yeah.
It comes down also who you surround yourself with, and it was kind of a hard awakening of like people that you like a lot, but then you see the way they are, and you're like. And it's your conscience that's telling you to, because it's more common, I think, for someone to pull you down than it is for you to pull them up.
Yeah.
And I might have a sort of like bad outlook on life, but
no, it's easier
I tend to, like, I don't put my hands to the fire for anyone. That's something my mom always told me. He's like, I don't even put my hands to the fire for my own kids. Like, I can only be accountable for myself.
Yeah.
But treat everyone as, I guess.
Yeah.
As love thy neighbor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, for sure.
That's what's.
And honestly, that's perfect advice too, right? Like, why am I going to vouch for you, like, if you can't vouch for yourself, right?
Yeah,
so everyone, especially adults, should be held accountable for stuff. Everybody. And so that's a good point. Whatever you're selling, I'll buy it.
Yeah, whatever you're selling, dude, you're buying. We're moving on to Guanajuato, where David's from. He's gonna sell us real estate.
Where'd you go to elementary? I want to go.
Yeah, wherever you went elementary, I'll buy the elementary school, dude. I'll buy that too. No, we're all teasing, man.
I always tell my sister, she's always like, because she's not. I'm super into news, super into politics, super into all of that stuff, and so she's always like, well, she doesn't like it, but I always tell her, I'm like, every week we're gonna sit down. I'm gonna have a catch up with you. Oh my. And I'm gonna fill you in on what's going on in the world.
This is due to your sister.
Me and my sister telling her that.
It's just two of y'all?
Yeah,
two kids?
I'm 25 and she's 24? She killed me that. I always forget. She's a year and a half younger.
I'm the older brother. I'm 25 and she's like 34. Like, I don't know how that works. Yeah.
But yeah, and with my parents too, sometimes I'm like, God gave you have a brain for a reason. Like, for example, when the Amazon fires were going on, that people were like, the world is burning up. Like, it was in the New York, like, the fires were started on purpose because that's how they do cropping. That's how they, burn and all that stuff to fertilize the earth and stuff like that.
Technique they use,
And then people think that the world is like, the planet's blowing up. You're like, no, read. Like, read. Like, you have the ability to Google it, and you'll see that it's not true.
Yeah. And before, without getting into too much of a different topic, because we're gonna have to close shop here in a little bit. 'Cause my boy David's taking off to Arizona tomorrow. Let's go to Sugarland right now. Let's close everything. We'll go to Town Center. We'll have it. Drinks on me.
I feel like I want to go to Arizona this weekend, dude.
Let's go to Arizona, dude. Yeah, we'll go all crash in David's apartment.
You're always welcome.
Go play some golf.
He's like, oh, did I say Arizona?
Did I say Arizona? I meant Brazil.
Canada.
No, that's two different places, man. No, honestly.
Well, yeah, you guys will always be welcome. Like, if you guys ever want to see Phoenix and stuff like that, I see the inside of a library more than I'll see the city, but I'll be more than happy on my off time to take you guys out and show you around Scottsdale and stuff like that. Those are fun places.
Yeah, no, I appreciate it.
Even for the camera girl.
The camera people, everybody's watching.
For everybody.
We got like 100-something followers on Instagram, David, so you better be prepared when 100 fucking something people come showing up at your door.
Yeah, this invitation is only for release people.
Yeah, thank you. I have a tiny. It was really better because if you were gonna extend it to everyone, I was gonna be fucking David. Get out. All right, we're done. Close.
Yeah, we're done. Wrap it up.
Get out. Like off. No, man, but I think that's as great as note as any to leave it on. Honestly, I mean, other than a couple of cousins who we've had on, you're like our first real guest on this GforGuzman podcast, and I had a blast talking to you, man. This hour and whatever it was went by super fast. And for those who are listening, if you ever have any question, I'm putting you on the spot, and if you have any questions, or if you ever need an example that you want to follow, traditional Catholic, definitely conservative. I shouldn't say definitely conservative, but definitely convicted in his beliefs. If you want to follow anybody like that, that's what I was going to say. People respect that, man. Regardless of what your beliefs in, if you're adamant in what you believe in and you can abide by them yourself, I don't think it gets any better than that, dude. And that's what you exemplify to me.
Yeah, for sure.
I'm sure my brother's probably seen it for himself today. So, me personally, to those who are watching, if you're gonna follow anybody's example, follow my boy David right here, man. And before we take off though, because what was your major again? History
and philosophy with a minor in biology.
Minor in biology. I got you this book, man. Quick gift. I did it perfect. You were talking about, I don't want to do it in front of the cameras. And I was like, no, I'm going to make sure I do it in front of the cameras, bro. But Christopher Dawson, Progress and Religion, bro. An historical inquiry. That's for you, man, to take on your trips.
Thank you.
To remember me by. All right, I put my name in it and no, I didn't do all
I'll keep tabs on you guys. I'll watch all the podcasts.
For sure, man. Yeah, we'll for sure keep tabs, dude. Thank you so much for being on today. I mean, it was a blast for me.
Oh, I just want to say I'm honored that you guys allow me to be here. Even just hanging out with you guys and getting to meet your mom and stuff. That's the first time I think I met your mom, but no, I really wish you guys the best, and please keep doing this because this is fantastic.
I appreciate it so much.
And when your kids get older, you can show them all this stuff. And you can show them how Uncle Matt got drunk that one night, and he said something he shouldn't have said.
Yeah, exactly. He was like, he gave me a gift, but he mumbled through all of it, right? He was terrible. Like, oh my gosh, Uncle Matt. No, man, but honestly, speaking from the heart, dude, thanks so much for coming on, dude. Wish you all the best. You're going to make a great DO, MD, whatever you're going to be.
All the above,
the sky's the limit for you, dude. And like you said earlier in this episode, with God's grace, you can do anything, dude. And Amen. I know the road's going to be shown to you along the way. And, you always have me. Jonathan, unfortunately, got abducted by aliens a couple of days ago, so he's not here today. No, he had like an exam for economics or something. Told me to give my... he's going to hit you up soon, I'm pretty sure as well. But, you always have me and Bud,
I'll let you guys know what I do. Whatever specialty I decide to go in, you'll have a physician covering you for that.
Yeah, man. And even along the way, dude, you always have some friends to drink it up with, talk it out
just hang out with, man. We don't always drink.
You remember older brother Mike? Yeah.
We just sometimes we hang out.
Traditional people drink, people. Traditional people drink.
But man, well, again, just ending on my note, appreciate you coming on, man. You say the honor is yours, but the honor is ours, honestly. For anybody that's willing to come out and come on the show, not only that, forget the show, because that's kind of second nature to me. It's, just even come shoot the shit with us. Well, I appreciate it. I like company, and it's always good to hear somebody else's opinion. But just know that you always have the Guzman family rooting for you 100%, bro.
Thank you, guys.
Always, man. Always.
You're all too kind.
So, appreciate it, man. And take it easy. Have a great trip, dude. Honestly.
Thank you.
Shout out to David. People, reach out to him. Wish him the best of luck.
Future Future badass person is what he's going to be for sure.
Yep,
definitely.
For sure. He's going to make it big.
Yeah.
We're rooting for that.
Man. All right, guys. We're out of here. Have a good night, everybody. Take it easy.
Thank y'all.
That's that.
That was fantastic.
That was fun, man.